Beware of transactions that trading in nature. That isn't such a powerful point as it was once, but the difference is, if it's dealing in nature, you're going to pay tax at income tax rates, which will be 50% or 51% possibly, where if it isn't, you'll pay at capital gains tax rates, 28%. Unfortunately, the point used to be that if you own an asset for a reasonable period of time, the rate will taper down. It doesn't anymore. So your 28% is no matter how long you've held the asset for. But it is still a point that you need to avoid dealing transactions. So this is for you property people, really. Anybody out there who fancies themselves as a property developer, for Christ's sake, if you want to make your gain and have it taxed as a capital gain and not as an income gain, you need to have evidence at the outset what your intentions were, and your intentions need to be the right intentions. In other words, you need to be holding it for long-term investment. You do not need to be saying, I think I can make a quick buck out of this. I think I can turn it very quickly. I'll go to my bank and here's my business plan. It's, yes, I can put a slap a coat of paint on it and sell it and you'll get your money back straight away. That would be very bad evidence. You want good evidence. You want evidence of long-term ownership. So that's the point. Final, two very, very quick points. Point number one is about inheritance tax business property relief. Inheritance tax, what do we know about inheritance tax? The limits are not leaping forward like the Tories promised us, because the Lib Dems don't like that sort of thing. So the nil rate band has been frozen at £325,000, and it looks like it's going to stay there. So if you want to mitigate your inheritance tax liabilities, you're going to have to do something a bit more cunning. And the cunning area to exploit is, in my view, business property relief. So just a very easy case study. Client came in, we're son of a client actually. He's got two parents, very elderly, very senile, mother in a home, father now in a home. Big family home worth some millions, bit of cash worth some millions. If parents die, huge amount of inheritance tax, 40%. But he actually wants to do up the house. It's in a state of some disrepair. They can get planning permission to extend it, enhance the value. So I say, well, this is great. What we'll do is your parents will form a company. You can't form the company. Your parents will form a company. And they will transfer the property to the company. And they will transfer the cash to the company. So they will now own shares in the company. And what you will do is you will develop this property. And this property we'll call XYZ Developments Limited. And you will develop the property with a view of improving the value and, in due course, selling it as a developed property. And your parents will, in due course, die. They will not live 7 years, but they might live 2 years. If one of them lives 2 years, on the first death, the deceased will transfer his or her shares to the survivor. On the second death, providing this company is a property development company and providing those shares have been owned for 2 years, it will be exempt. Business property relief will apply. It is a very, very good idea. Think about it. My final point is, and there's all sorts of other rules, but you'll have to talk to me afterwards because we're out of time. My other point here is the exemption for gifts of shares to employee trusts. There is a most peculiar exemption in the inheritance tax code for gifts of shares to employee trusts. It relates to shares in companies. It does not relate to shares in trading companies. It's any old company. It could have been an investment company. So you can have a company which is purely investment in nature that you own 100% of the shares to. It's worth millions, let us say. You are on your deathbed. You think, I'm not going to live 7 years. I'm not going to live 2 years. I'm not going to, I'm not going to live 10 minutes. What I will do is I'll quickly change my will and I will bequeath the shares to a trust for the benefit of the employees of my company. And I'd better make sure I've got few employees, so I'll make my children directors of the company as well. Crash, you keel over and die. What happens? There's an exemption. Would you believe it? There's an exemption from inheritance tax in those circumstances, which is well, I don't know. It seems an amazing loophole, but it is there and it has been there for a long time. So anyway, on that happy note, I've slightly overrun by 5 minutes, for which I apologise. We will now stampede through that door and we will eat sandwiches and drink orange juice or even wine, and hopefully you'll come and talk to me about any of these points, or my lovely colleagues who are sitting in serried ranks at the back. So anyway, I thank you for listening. Goodbye.